I'm getting ready to put the toilet back into place, but before I do, I wanted to change out the rubber O-rings and the washers for the tank, the washers that go between the tank and the base of the toilet. They're getting a little bit gummy and starting to deteriorate, so I wanted to go ahead and switch those out since I got the tank empty. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the flush valve as well, so that it has all new parts inside. I want to say about 3 weeks before I started the bathroom project, I replaced the mechanism that fills the tank up. It was leaking, so I had to replace that. So I'm not going to replace that because it's really brand new. But I will change the valve and the other rubber pieces. So let's go ahead and get that swapped out, and I'll show you how to go about doing that. So to get a better view of the toilet, this is what the insides look like for a Mansfield toilet. This is the mechanism that the flush valve that Mansfield uses. It's that style. It collapses rather than there's a rubber flap on the other style. And these are the bolts that I'm changing out. Because they're starting to get gummy and nasty. And same thing with this valve here. The rubber O-ring that's there is getting a little bit worn, so I'm going to change it out. And then there's a couple of bolts down below that you have to put a wrench on to loosen that up. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then I went to the hardware store and got a couple of a tank bolt washer kit. And it just gives you the washers for that. And then I also have a replacement flush valve, which gives you a new O-ring, rubber O-ring. So I'm going to replace that as well. And then to put the toilet back on, I got a new toilet seal so that we don't have any issues going forward. I've never used this kind. Usually I use a wax ring, but we'll give it a shot and see what, apparently this is, you can put it on and take it off if you needed to without a big mess, because once you pull the wax ring off one time, it's, you have to throw it out. Whew. It is so stuck. So these are the bolts, and the rubber ring is it's just coming apart. And I ended up having to take a Sawzall, reciprocating saw, to this last one. I could not get it off. So looks like I'm going to be going to the hardware store for some more bolts. Yeah, that seal is, it's still there, but it's really deteriorated. Just the black just keeps coming off, so it's just time to change that. I think it's probably the original one. I don't think it's ever changed out. It still works, but I got it apart. Might as well change it. Make it new. Okay, so we're ready to replace all the parts. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and replace the flush valve. So you want to unscrew this piece here, and then this goes on the inside of the tank, and then you want to tighten it down. Obviously you want to tighten it as much as possible, but not too tight because you don't want to crack the plastic. Just enough to get a good seal so that you're not going to have any water leaks. I think I'm going to go just one more. You just kind of have to go by feel on that. Just not push it too. Yeah, that feels pretty tight. And now I got a complete kit. So it comes with, I took back the washers that I just bought and just bought a complete kit. And this comes with the bolts, the washers, and the rubber gasket for the tank basin to the tank to seal that up. So, and that fits right on here. So their instructions for how they do it, they give you 2 sets of nuts with the bolts, and they say to clamp the rubber washer on the inside and then the outside, put a nut on it, tighten it down so that it's watertight, and then slide it through and use this secondary nut to tighten it on the back side of the toilet base. I didn't have that. I only had a nut and a bolt, and that was it. There was nothing in between here that gave it a gap between, so that was just something different. But I'll go ahead and use their instructions. Alright, all the washers are together. And this fits like that. It's pretty snug, I think. I just don't want to tighten it and crack the porcelain. So I think it's good. So this is a different kind of rubber seal than I'm used to. So usually it's just a wax ring, but in any case, what they say to do is it has different adjustments. It's got a filler, like an adjustment, so you can do it if this flange is above the floor, like more than 1/4 of an inch. You just use this. But if it's flush, which this is flush, it says to use the filler strip. Essentially, put these on. And then slide them down. Okay, so you say to put this spacer on if it's 1/4 inch below the floor or even with the floor. So I'm about even with the floor, so I'm going to put it on. It says foam side down. So that's what I'm doing, is foam side down. Just put this one on top of it. And set it down on there, I guess. Alright, moment of truth. I don't feel any wetness underneath here. Uh-oh. Felt a little something here. So I turned the water on, and I had a slight leak on this bolt down in there. So I had to tighten it. The bolt, the nut that's in between the base and the tank. So I snugged them all up like a half a turn on each of them, just to make sure that they were good and snug. And then I changed out this hose with another hose. This is a 16-inch one. The other one was a 9-inch, but I think the plastic hose was problematic. I think I think where the crimp was, it was leaking out. So I don't really care for the plastic ones. I thought it was in good shape, so I wasn't going to replace it, but evidently not. So I'd put this one in there. I have another one, so it's fine. And it doesn't really kink up much with the longer piece, so it's probably better to have a longer one than a short one. So I'm gonna keep this towel here just to see if any water collects. So the next thing that I need to do is to install the faucets and the countertop, the side splash area. So I'll go ahead and do that next. Okay,